Hi yard nerds, it's Destry. Welcome back to my yard. Today I'm going to be working on refreshing and replacing plants in a raised garden bed and also pulling out some peas that are done for the season and replacing them with some new veggie plants. So stick around and check out the video. Okay, so just a little bit of a backstory. I bought this raised garden bed to be used as an herb garden. And I did have some herbs in here and I did use some of the herbs. I dried some of them and I actually made some really cool herb cubes. I'll link that video down in the description. But after that, I just found that they all kind of went to flower and they just didn't do it for me. Do you gardeners ever have that moment where you're like, you try something and it's just not your thing? I like herbs. I was glad I tried them this year and utilized some of them, but I really wanted to do something different in this garden bed. So I got some really beautiful plants to plant up in here. And then on the other side, I'm gonna kind of turn you guys around, but on the other side, I have some peas, so some shelling peas, and I've gotten several harvests from them and they're wonderful. They're so delicious. I also have some green beans that are coming on, but some of the plants are, I don't know if it's powdery mildew or some kind of disease or just the heat of the summer, but it's time for them to be pulled out. And so I got some squash plants to replace them. So let me show you all the plants that I got for this project today. All right, so here's some of the plants I got for this raised bed, and I went with all kind of purples. I really gravitate towards these like deep dark colors. Trying to find some names for you. Obviously, I've got a couple coleus here. I did grab some proven winners. So let me see. I've got a graceful grasses purple fountain grass. Now I know this one will get really big, but I also thought that it would be really pretty to use in like fall arrangements. And honestly, a lot of these colors are to me pretty fall-like. And so this one is the fishnet stockings coleus, which I absolutely love. Look at the variegation on the leaves. Like it's just gorgeous. So I'm excited to try that, proven winners. Couple other just kind of coleus from the garden center. Let's see, this hanging one is a chocolate creeping Jenny. So I love creeping Jenny, but I had never seen it in this like dark color with the foliage. So I grabbed that. And then another graceful grasses. This one is the fireworks. So again, I was kind of excited about the idea of getting some of these like kind of like almost wheat looking tops to use in fall arrangements. So this is my color scheme that I'm going to be going with. And I actually have a couple other plants that I might pull into this planter box if I feel like I don't quite have enough plants too. So that's going to be for that. And then let me swing around here and I'll show you what's happening with my peas. So I don't know if it's, like I said, it's just the heat. I feel like shelling peas are kind of a spring plant. But then again, I'm looking up here realizing I still have some flowers on here. So I'm going to have to make some decisions here. What I'm thinking is in some of these areas, I might just cut out what seems to be kind of dead. But I am concerned that like down here at the bottom, they look a lot more dead than at the top. Anyway, and then moving over here, this particular variety just didn't do very well. And it's doing this weird thing. I don't know. Isn't that strange? I almost feel like it might have some sort of disease or something. So I think I'm going to be done with these. Now, these are over here are my green beans. So check these out. Let's see if I can find one for you. I'm actually starting to get flowers. And if you look really closely, see if I can find one. There's these tiny little green beans that are coming on. So this plant's doing great. And unfortunately, what's happened is it's wound its way down into these peas, which are not doing well. So I'm going to have to get in here and really decide, what's going to stay and what's going to go. And then over here, let me show you some of the plants I got. Now, I know it's a little late in the season to be planting squash, but I thought I'd give it a try. I got 2 acorn squashes, and each plant in here has probably like 3 plants within the pot, and then some butternut squash. I didn't have a chance to plant either of those types of squashes in my raised garden beds, which are looking so great right now. I've got lots of zucchini for days. I'm literally giving zucchini to all my neighbors. My tomatoes are coming on. Um, and yeah, so like things are looking really good over here, but I just didn't have room for those two particular squash. So even though it's late in the season, I might go ahead and try to plant them up and see if I can get a few squash. Okay, so it's time to get busy while it's nice and cool outside here in Willamette Valley, Oregon. I'm in a zone 8B, so I'm gonna get going on this while it's cool. It's only supposed to be in the 80s today, and gotta get the whole backyard watered as well. So I gotta get started, so let's do this. All right, Yardner. So here's what I ended up with. I did the creeping Jenny over the side, and you can see it will bloom. There's a couple little blooms that are so cute. I did the Proven Winners Coleus here, the Proven Winners Graceful Grasses, and then just the other two Coleus that I scooped up at the garden center. So I really tried to go for some symmetry with this arrangement, even though this one's a little bit taller. This one, I know the one on this side will fill in, and I'm hoping those grasses will really like come up and fill in this whole area. And I love that pop in the middle of that red kind of red coleus. So anyway, I am so happy with how this looks. This is going to be like, this is so much more my vibe than an herb garden. No offense to herb gardeners, like it was fun, but this is going to be gorgeous. This color scheme is everything. I love it so much. So more updates to come on how this is going to fill out, but tell me in the comments, what do you think about these combinations? And have you ever seen a dark creeping Jenny? I thought it was pretty cool. I started to just like get down here and try to pull out the ones that were dead from the beginning. But check this out. First of all, my dogs have been digging in here. So like a lot of the roots are just really exposed, which is a bummer. But what I'm noticing is like they're dead at the bottom, but like up here at the top, they look great. But my fear is that they are going to continue. Max, get out of there. Oh my fear is they're just going to continue to die from the bottom all the way up. So like one of the branches I just pulled, like it's dead at the bottom, but then when you get towards the top, it's green. So Yardners, it's a tough call. I could try to save them, but honestly, I think I'm over it. I got some really good harvests from these peas, and I think it's time to do something else. So I think my decision is to pull them. Tell me in the comments, am I making the right choice? Okay, I did it. I'm leaving the structure of this, and I'm gonna pop in the squash. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sow. I still have more seeds of this variety. I'm gonna sow some seeds for a fall crop. I've never done it this way before. I usually just pull them and pull all this structure out and just redo everything, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So wish me luck with that. I did get the 2 acorn squash planted up. I need to water them in, obviously. And then I found one little rogue green bean coming up in all the mess of peas. And then these green beans over here, I'm leaving. I'm a little concerned that they're yellowing at the bottom, but the tops, I mean, I think they're going to be fine. I have not got a harvest from these yet, and they are flowering. So I'm going to leave them and watch them and water them real good. And I'm hoping I will at least get one crop from those. So next up, I'm going to find my seeds and sow those and get the squash into the ground. So that's what's up. So here is our final result. I went ahead and sowed the territorial seeds for I guess kind of well, they're going to germinate in the summer and then they'll be kind of a fall crop. I went ahead and got the squash in here, which I went ahead and put a lot of fertilizer, the biotone starter fertilizer kind of on the top of everything, and I'm going to water everything in. But I think that these squash are going to be really happy in their new homes. They might shock a little bit, but I'm hoping that they do well. And then my green beans are staying. Over here, we've got the really beautiful coleus kind of fall, early fall, I'll say. I'm not ready for fall yet, but the purples and the greens and just the kind of a foliage planter. And I love the way that this area is looking despite the grass. The grass is another story. The other thing, it's becoming really clear to me that these planters over here are going to need to be replaced next year. I already knew that we were having some issues. You can see right here, some of the bracing has eroded away, but it's really, with my puppies, it's like they're too low. So I'm really excited to replace them with the Vigo garden beds like I've done in my other parts of my garden, so that the whole thing is a little higher, and in order to keep the dogs out. So excited for more changes in this area to come, but happy with what I got accomplished today. All right, Yardners, that's going to be it for today's project. Here is my compost situation. I got to go clean up my mess. But thanks for hanging out with me and checking out this project. I will be updating you on how everything turns out and fills out. And I hope you go out and get in your yard today. It's a really fun place to be. I'll see you next time. Bye.